Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I am Primetime 000, and with me as always is my trusted co-host, Tiny Titan. What's going on, my brother?
Not much, man. Just hanging out, ready to get this episode recorded.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. First down on Total Access. Hey, man, it's almost playoff time already in the SML. We've got a lot of guys who are right on the bubble or hanging on by a thread. Is there any team that you're kind of looking at that might make it or might miss it? Or is there anybody who you're kind of nervous for or happy for?
Well, okay. So in the AFC, I was kind of optimistic for KJ, and it's not looking good now here towards the end of the season. So I'm projecting in the AFC, KJ and Future are going to miss.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got you, Woods, and who was that last one? Matt making the last wild card. Because right there, man, it's like a big jumbled up mess, and I just don't see KJ, winning in big games. I wish he could. I wish he would, but I just don't see it happening. And of course, I see you, making the clutch wins when you have to. You're kind of backed into a corner right now, and I project that you're gonna do what you got to do to get in there. So I assume you're going to make it in Woods. And like I said, Matt is going to make it there at the end. Now, the NFC, I feel like, I know everybody says Meats is back or whatever, but I don't know, man. I think Meats and Clinky are going to miss. And I think Lawyer, D-Muse, and Dump are going to be the wild cards there, the last three spots in the NFC. Dump's been hot, man. I don't know if you guys have seen the last few games. Maybe I'm a little biased because he beat the absolute dog crap out of me a couple weeks ago, but he done the same thing to D-Muse a couple hours ago. I don't know if anybody's seen. I think he beat him by 35 points or something. So Dump's on a mission, man. I know he's not been in chat as much. He's been busy. He's got that new coaching job or whatever, but he's definitely looking better for sure. So that's my picks for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that for me, I'm going to go just on the depressing side of things here, and two teams who I think that are currently in it that are going to be out of it. One is KJ, and I'm gonna give a compliment, or I'm gonna give a slam then a compliment here. And the slam is, look, you're 6-6, and he had a game against Faz where he was close, and he had a chance to drive downfield and get a win. He actually had two drives where he probably could have taken the lead late in the game, and he just kind of mishandled the one drive where he realistically had a shot. Just his drive bogged down, and he had to punt it. And then he had a 2-minute drive to go 99 yards, and that one was probably not that realistic, no timeouts, but his first pass was intercepted. So until he gets that clutch gene to win those games that he has to in those last minutes, he'll have a tough time making the playoffs. But the good news is, look, you're hanging in there with literally the top dog in the SML right now. The Vikings are 12-0, and you were literally 2 or 3 plays away from winning that game. So if you can figure that out, you're going to win a lot of games, and you're going to make the playoffs. It's just figuring that out, and I'm not quite sure if this season is the season where he gets over that hump. But he's obviously improving. He's getting better, and that's better than being stagnant, obviously. So that sucks. And then looking at the NFC, remember last year Meats, everybody had him wrote off, and then he kind of found his way through. This year, everybody kind of thought Meats is going to make the playoffs. He had a lighter schedule to start, but he finishes with RD twice, the Panthers, and then he has a Dump in there. He has October as well, but those are 5 games right there where I'm not sure if he's favored in any of them. So Meats might miss the playoffs in a season where we expected him to make the playoffs. And it'll be the first time since probably season 18 or 19. So that'll be interesting, I think.
But, that'll be the second season in a row now that Meats won't make it. So
no,
kind of showing where
he did.
Did he make it last? He did make it.
He did.
Mike barely.
Mike lost 5 games in a row or something crazy.
Leave it to Mike, I guess. Right.
So let's move on now. It's second down. Faz, pretty favorable schedule to finish out this season. Looks like he's going to go 16-0. I guess that's my first question: is do you think Faz will go 16-0, and how do you think that will impact his playoff run? Obviously, we have the Flaccid Faz moniker.
Well, that's basically yours. Nobody else really says that, but we'll just go with that. Um, but um, what I'm looking at is football team here getting them this next week. I feel like if Faz gets past the football team this week, he will probably go 16-0. If not, maybe against NYT in week 16. I mean, NYT has had a light schedule, so that's why his
Yeah,
schedule. I mean, I think his record's what 10-2 or something
yeah,
like that. It's something crazy. Um, and NYT is good, but I don't think he's 10-2 good. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I think if he gets past the football team here this week, he might be able to make it because, like, dude, the guy's scoring 39 points a game, and I think his points against are like 16. It's ridiculous. Like, he's beating the crap out of everybody. Like, none of his games are close.
Yeah.
So, Faz is trying to prove a point this year, man, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do in the playoffs.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the SML is we have a lot of personalities, and we've got a lot of guys who know a lot about football. We even have an expert, a guy who how should I say this? He coaches elementary school flag football, and for whatever reason that football genius does not translate to Madden. I'm not quite sure why it wouldn't, but anyway, um, moving on to Faz, who this guy is a legitimate athlete now. He's joined these T-ball leagues. He's in flag football, dominating. Faz is kind of feeling it. So with all that said, Faz is going to go 16-0, and I think he's my Super Bowl favorite coming out of the NFC. That Washington football team is tough. He's probably the toughest guy left on the schedule. I think he's going to beat him. I think he's going to go 16-0, and this is going to be a big year for him because if he loses in the playoffs again and doesn't make a Super Bowl appearance, that Flaccid Faz thing is going to be in full gear. And I'll feel bad hyping it up, but I'm going to have to do it because we got to give the truth on all SML shows.
Well, you got to be honest. You're not going to feel bad about it at
Not
all.
at
You're going
all.
to love it. It's going to
I'm
be
going to
fun.
love it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great for business. So let's move on now. Which SML player is just overrated?
All right, so I put two sections on this one. So I don't like to call anybody overrated because I don't think the way the games play out, like nobody's really overrated. Your record is what you are. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I would say this season NYT is overrated because of his schedule. So he's 10-2. Um, I don't. Nobody really thinks he's really a 10-2 guy. I don't think. Like, would you? You know what I mean? So,
No, no.
and then over the cycle, I would say it's meets because maybe that's more of a bias on my part because I'm always looking at Meats like he's one of the guys I really want to like try my best to beat every
Mm-hmm.
time we play. But this cycle, he hasn't done a whole lot, honestly. Like, I mean, how far has he got? He's won. Has he won a playoff game this whole cycle? I don't know if he has or not. To be honest with
He
you.
made the Super Bowl season 1.
Yeah, and then after that,
Yeah, he
what's
fell
happened?
off. Fell
I mean,
off.
nothing. Yeah,
Nothing.
exactly. So, and he's been talking about Isaiah Simmons or whatever. He's gonna be all badass, whatever. And there's running back now that's or running with my running back now. So I just feel like Meats is he's there, but I mean he's going to be overrated just a little bit.
So to you, overrated means somebody's hyping this guy up. Is that correct?
Well, the way I would look overrated is that's why I was trying to say from the way I'm looking at it and why I'm biased is because the way I feel when I go into a game.
Yeah.
Like when I go into a game with Meats, it's like Meats is one of those games I look at as like this is one of those games I really want to win.
Yeah.
Meats, Dump, RD, which of course is all my freaking division games, which sucks. But like against Bomber and you, Dan, for example, all those guys are the ones that I want to make sure that I try and play my best against. To like, if I win, it's like everybody's like, "Holy crap, Tiny beat that guy!"
Yeah.
So that's the way I feel against the guys that are somewhat overrated.
Yeah. So to comment on Meats first, I played him literally like in advance ago, and it was a close game, but it hasn't felt this like he did not feel like he used to feel when I'd play him, where I feel like he's taken a step back, and I'm not quite sure what that step back is, but he definitely has taken a step back. I know he's got a lot going on. I'm not going to be too critical of him. I think he can get back to that elite level that you're talking about, but I would say he's declined. I guess to me, overrated, or from my perspective, is when people talk about a guy and then they just aren't meeting that expectation a little bit. And there's a few guys. There's a few guys. Obviously, kind of the low hanging fruit. And this was even last week. I'm not sure if you've seen the top 10 rankings guys were putting out in chat, but Rowan Kuh had Grams, I think, in his top five, and Grams is 49 and 46 on the cycle. I mean, he's a 500 player. We're kind of looking at him like he was 2 Mads ago at this point. He's obviously got a lot going on as well, so I think he can get back to that point. But from that perspective, he's a little overrated. I think that in general, it seems like a lot of SML OGs kind of overrated now. Whether the game's passed them by or whatever it is, just kind of getting older. Kind of figured out now. So that's just kind of a broad message there, but yeah, I think that the talent's still good, and any of those guys can, like you said, Meats can still beat anybody. Meats can beat RD. Meats can beat Dump, or he can beat me or you. But sometimes I feel like guys get a lot of hype for one win and not really necessarily any playoff success. And I think playoff success has to be the number one measure before anybody gets any hype at all. So anyway.
Yeah, and and I hate to do this because I love RD, but like I could also put RD in that same category because everybody, like even myself, puts all our coins in behind RD because like we're always like going for him, whenever he's making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But he didn't. You beat the crap out of him last year, so
yeah. The thing about RD is, and I'm not going to get on a tangent on him, but he's a good player. Great player. I think he's won in a lot of different leagues, but he didn't start winning until he had Cam Akers, and then he got Cam Akers, boosted him up, and now he's winning. I'm curious of how his success will be next cycle and onward in the SML, if he'll be able to enjoy the same success he's having late in this cycle. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. That'll be an interesting measuring stick. So
that's also like another thing. I'm not trying to just back you up or whatever, but that's another compliment to yourself that you take the Colts no matter how bad they are, and you still end up being a top tier team every year. That's kudos to you, man, because I couldn't take my favorite team every year and deal with the cap and everything else, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Maybe we should talk about that in a little bit here.
Let's not. Let's just go on to something
Well,
else.
this was mentioned in chat though the other day about constructing your team, and let's say you take the Titans, and
right.
and you love the Titans, Tannehill and all the boys, so that does impact your team building. I would assume. I think you even mentioned it, and I think that's the Achilles heels of a lot of guys is. They don't want to take their favorite team because they don't want to trade the players away. Can you kind of elaborate on your point of view on that?
Yeah, I mean, I took the Titans in another league, actually the one that NYT ran, and I just held on to Tannehill as long as I could. And I'm like, God, he's killing my cap, dude. And like, it got to a point where I think like season 3 or 4, he was like a literally 69 overall. Man, it was awful. But like, I was still paying him $20-something million a year. It was crazy. Yeah. Like, but you just got to deal with it. And I'm trying to hold on to Rashawn Evans and Adoree Jackson, all my favorite players, Kevin Byard, just et cetera, all the players on the Titans that I like. And you can't do that, man. It's almost like fantasy football. A lot of guys that play fantasy football know the same. Like you can't pick players that are on your favorite team because when you do, that's whenever you start. They say keep your heart away from your brain.
It's so hard.
You're playing fantasy football. Yeah, you got to keep it away. You can't do the same thing.
It's just like betting on the Colts or betting on the Titans. It's just like I should never bet on a Colts game. Like exactly. It's just not good for me. But I could imagine being an NFL GM how tough that would be is if you work with these players for 7 to 8 years and then they start to deteriorate and you build a relationship with them, but then you have to you have to take your personal feelings, because I'd assume these GMs get good relation, like the Peyton Manning situation. Like Irsay and Manning loved each other, I'd assume. I mean, Manning made Irsay millions, if not billions of dollars, and
Dude, Peyton built that stadium,
yeah,
man.
built that stadium, and then Irsay had to turn around and cut him for the good of the future of the Colts, and that's pretty tough. And then here we are getting attached to our virtual players. It's
Yeah.
kind
I
of
think at a certain point it makes sense, but like in a
yeah,
game like this, it doesn't, because like you're never getting anything back in return for that, if that makes sense. Like
yeah,
for example, I didn't want to re-sign Russell Wilson because he's, I mean, I know he's doing okay with the Panthers right now, but like he's not going to do me any good because I'm not going to be able to progress him at all. He's just going
yeah,
to fall off every year if I re-sign him for $40 million a year. I didn't want
yeah,
to do that.
yeah.
It sucks. I got a shitty quarterback now. It sucks, but like I didn't want to pay a dude $40 million to just keep falling off every year. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, what are you supposed to do?
I don't know. It's fun. That's I think that's the most fun part is figuring that puzzle out. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part of franchise at this point. Let's move on to our fourth down topic. What do you make of the NFC? We got Rowan Cuh, the number 2 ranked team. Lawyer Killer silently back as the number 4 seed. Meets at 6. We talked about him. What's your thoughts in general about the NFC?
All right. So first off, I'll say they're definitely stronger all around. The NFC is. Um,
Mhm.
Second, I'll say Meats is not back. I'm sorry, buddy. You're just not back. I know you're right there in the thick of things, but you're not there. And I will say, Lawyer is playing great, and he's going to make the playoffs this year. But man, it's crazy. There are 9 teams that are 7-5 or better. It's ridiculous. Like how good the top. Let's see. I was going to say the top half, but the top 3 quarters of the NFC is. The bottom quarter is not so good. So
Yeah.
let's not talk about them, including myself.
Yeah.
But man, Lawyer's really, like I played him I think 2 weeks ago, dude. He was playing really well. Like he was not missing a beat. Like that guy's coming back. I
Hmm.
would really watch out for him. Y'all need to really pay attention to that guy. Um,
Yeah.
but of course, Faz, like I said earlier, he's on a mission, man. You got to watch out for him too. So I think the NFC's strong this year. You just, we gotta see where it goes.
Yeah. I'll be there's a lot of question marks, I think, in the NFC. Obviously, I think it's Faz and then it's everybody else, but Rowan Kuh, like, what do we make of him at this point? How is he even 9-3? I guess I need to look into that. I think he missed the playoffs last few seasons. Lawyer Killer, is he legitimate? Washington football team, can they win a playoff game? Can Meats win a playoff game? Can Dump win a playoff game? It's the last 3 seeds are all guys who have enjoyed quite a bit of regular season success, but actually, looking at it now in the NFC, about 5 of the teams, even Faz, who he's won some playoff games, obviously made the Super Bowl, but there's a lot of guys who have done a lot in the regular season, but haven't done anything in the playoffs in quite some time, other than RD. So there's a lot of guys in the NFC with something to prove. Honestly, I think the NFC, excluding Mad Bomber, might be the more hungry conference in the SML right now. And usually, if you're hungry, you're more likely to break through that barrier. So that'll actually be interesting to see.
Man, if you're talking about hunger,
Yeah,
I don't know who's hungrier than Faz is right now, man. I'm telling
yeah,
you, he is hungry,
he's
dude.
hungry. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think he's trying to prove a point. He told
Oh,
me
definitely.
after I think it was the night I beat RD in the Super Bowl. He told me he was sick because he thought he should have been there, and I'm assuming he thought he was going to beat me. And honestly, I did not want to play fast, so he probably would have won. But I think that he's out to prove a point. So everyone says
I
RD.
also,
Oh, go on.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I also forgot to mention the football team in there, man.
Yeah,
He's also playing very well this year as well.
he's probably trying to prove a point that he can win in the playoffs. So, and I hope so. He's a good guy. I'd like to see that.
Well, see, you don't hear anything out of him. That's the
Mm-mm.
thing. Like that's why he always gets put on the back burner. We don't hear anything out of him. He's just always playing his games, and that's it.
What
You don't hear anything out of him in chat or anything. So you don't know anything about him at all.
That's the same with RD, but the thing is, RD has some history with other guys in the league, so he gets a little more hype. To your point, Washington doesn't say much, and he doesn't know he doesn't really know anybody here, so there's no like mystique behind his name either. So he just kind of wins, and then we dictate what that narrative is. We could call him the next big thing, or we can kind of trash him and say he's the next Meats. I guess that's up to us to decide. But that's the fun part about being on the show.
Right.
Let's move on now to the extra point. We're at 19 minutes. What's the tiny power rankings look like?
Boy, it's moved a little bit since last time we talked. It's been a couple weeks, so you're still not there, by the way. I just want to let you
Yes,
know.
that's okay.
Fucking, you've been sucking butt,
Yeah, I
man. What's
know.
going on?
Hey, I'm on my Super Bowl tour. I'm relaxing. Probably around week 15, I'll turn it up though.
All right, man. I got Flaccid Faz as number one. Man, this guy is averaging 39 points a game on defense, 19 points. So I'm assuming like he's really averaging like 10 points on defense a game. He's just letting those guys get a few points there at the end of the game.
Yeah,
He is
backups.
demolishing everybody. He is not worrying about it. He is just like screw you guys, screw the SML, screw Prime. I don't care about your schedule. I'm gonna beat the crap out of everybody.
Hmm.
But all right, and then of course I got Dan second because he slipped up and lost the game.
Hmm.
This one right here might throw you off a little bit. I got football team number
Wow,
3.
wow.
Yeah. Well, mainly because of this, I got Bomber 4th.
Hmm.
I played Bomber, and I just feel like.
What do you think about Bomber?
Well, see, Bomber's great. He's good. He wins his games that he needs to win. But like, if like for example, when we played, if I was a little bit better Madden player, I would have beat him that game. I'm pretty sure. But like, I just right there at the end of the game, I screwed up, threw a pick or whatever, and messed up. And like I normally do at the end of the end of the game, I think I stopped him on a 4th down with like 3 minutes left. I was only down 6, and of course after that it went to crap, and he ended up winning by like 20. It was crazy.
Do you think
But
Bomber's
anyway,
overrated?
I ain't gonna say that, Prime. Come on now. See, why are you trying to do that? I don't think Bomber's overrated. I think that Bomber is vulnerable. Let's just say that.
Do you think
And
that he's made a name by beating Prime and nobody else?
maybe.
I'm just stirring the pot.
No, I know you are. Anyway, I think any of these guys in the top 5. By the way, I'll say this here: any of these guys in the top 5, I think can win the Super Bowl this year. But I just feel like football team is more dangerous with his offensive weapons. That's why I put him 3rd instead of 4th in front of Bomber.
Hmm.
And Bomber's still he's still getting used to his quarterback. So
Yes.
that's kind of a thing with me. I don't know. And then I got NYT at 5th with the Ravens because it's got Lamar, the 88 overall team
Yes.
that has the worst quarterback in the game somehow, like you said. But he's averaging 35 points a game,
Yes.
and his defense is only giving up 22 points a game. So
Yes.
that's pretty daggum good in my opinion.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. No matter what his schedule is, that's still impressive.
Exactly.
One final thing I want to comment, since I'm trying to slay Meats here. He did guarantee a win against me, and I beat him, by the way. 30,
Oh wow,
30
really?
32nd ranked yards on offense and 31st ranked pass offense by I got the Meats. So anyway, that's
Wait, 30-second pass offense? Is that behind mine?
no, I mean 32nd in yards, just in total offense, 32nd.
I'm just curious if he's behind Edward Meyer, because if he is, that's pretty impressive.
He is 32nd in pass offense and 31st in total offense. He's like one of the worst offenses in the SML. That bad.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty rough, Meats. Come on, man.
And he's got Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. It's just bad.
Hey, if you know offhand, what's the Chiefs' overall rating?
In Madden, yeah, I do,
Yeah.
81 actually, because
Oh, okay. Wow, that's dropped off quite a bit.
yes. Well, when you win about one game every 3 seasons, that's I guess that's what happens. But no, But hey, they are 20th in the league or 4th in the league in pass yards, so at least he's doing something with his elite quarterback.
Well, he's got a really good rookie receiver too. But he really does, honestly.
Does he? So yeah, he's rebuilding them. He's rebuilding them. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, guys, that was probably SML Total Access. We hit around 24 minutes today. I'm prime time. He's tiny. And we'll see you guys next week, probably for a playoff edition of the show. Thanks for listening.